Today's young buyers have a radically different vision of the world. They demand designs that challenge the norm and revolutionize life on board. And it's this hunger for innovation that underpins the existence of VriThink. During our annual event, we bring together brilliant minds to share in a completely new approach to yacht design. This is VriThink'S Night Out.
Now, why the interest in the Internet of Things? Well, I got very interested in this precision we heard tonight, and technology and computers and whatnot, but it's something that is always oversold by very few companies on the planet who keep a very, very tight control on it. So we have to take the money out of the Internet of Things and we have to make it into a consumer product. I didn't do it, somebody else did it. I did a bit of research and more companies are coming close to it. So what is All Things Connected? All Things connect through something like this. It's called the gateway. This PC can do millions and millions of data streams per second, this PC. And how do we get to it? We get to it through that, your mobile phones. In terms of connections, we heard about mechanics, Industry 4.0, Marine 4.0. Well, mechanics existed since a long time ago, and the vision of going from mechanics to technology and to software also existed already in 2001 with the Space Odyssey. And now we have all sorts of different things connected. But this circle of data has to be meaningful. It really has to be useful to somebody, and it has to be completely customized for everybody to customize it for themselves. And that's very, very important because the data stream has to result into a decision-making, or at least an acknowledgement, or at least a being aware of things. So what are the Internet of Things components? Everybody's heard about big data, but really, your coffee machine, your car, the space shuttle, the engine on your boat, the radar on your car, the GPS on your car and on your boat and on your phone, those are all bits and pieces. And they communicate with signals. These little waves are the signals. And what you see in that picture is about as big as my fist. And that's a full Wi-Fi data collector and data transmitter. And you can have as many of those as you want, as many of these as you want, and as many of those as you want, all connected together today. Some of them have antennas. I didn't bring the antennas on this tonight only because I forgot, to tell you the truth. But that's what they look like. It's little tiny antennas for your Wi-Fi, for your GSM. This is a GSM thing. When I switch it on, it sends emails to my phone, well, to my email account, and then I read them on my phone. But it sends me an email to say what it's doing. And there are different things that do that. But who are the consumers? Well, the first consumer is really the software that is going to analyze all of these data streams. Because yes, you can see numbers going on your screen, but that's not really meaningful. So you want to see those numbers, or you want to see the effect of those numbers, a graph, an alarm, a bar chart, whatever. And that starts to talk about edge computing. And what is edge computing? It's just a piece of software here that takes the data stream and makes sums, averages, highs and low values, deviations, and so on, and then sends the data to different locations. So the same data is treated in different ways, and it doesn't just go to my mobile phone. It goes to 100 people's different mobile phone in different ways. One wants a graph, one wants a dial, one wants a gauge, one wants something. But all of this big data, which everybody talks about, big data, it's a big mess of data. If you do compute it, if you do edge compute it, then it can turn into useful information. And the information to be useful has to be useful to you, after which you make a decision. So not everybody is going to use the same information, and not everybody is going to have the same usefulness out of all of the information. So what is the breakthrough? The breakthrough is the software. This we've had for a long time. The other day I watched the first movie when they went to the moon. Well, theirs were a little bit bigger and a little bit less powerful, but those existed. These existed in 1920, right? And what is not the Internet of Things? This is an example of connection, connectivity, dashboards, dials, but very limited to some manufacturer's playground, very limited to this or to that product. You cannot connect your coffee machine to these big consoles. You can connect your coffee machine to something like this. Now, what does it take to build the Internet of Things? Because you need bits and pieces. It's all there. It's not just the cloud. And the cloud is a nice big word, but what does it really mean? Well, you need sensors, something that generates data, anything that goes with electricity. Screwdriver is a bit of tape and something to show the data on. So we resume everything that we can go buy in the shop. We go to the hardware store. We can buy all of these. These you can buy online. And the only thing you cannot buy in the hardware shop is software. And that's the big difference, because software is what turns the Internet of Things from a big, expensive mystery, almost like a sect, into a consumer product. So off the shelf, we get all of the components, all of the hardware components, but not the software. The software is available, but not off the shelf. It's easy to find. If you look on the internet, there are several options today, but not many of them are truly, truly plug and play. And the plug and play means that on here, we run something very much like your browser, something with tabs, something like Microsoft Word, something like Microsoft Excel, where you fill in boxes and then all of a sudden, oh, it works. And then it becomes a consumer product, because all you need to do is to say, I want to connect that coffee machine of this brand, click, to this port, any one of these ports, click, and that's all there is to it. This is new. This is something that I have discovered only in the recent months. It didn't exist before, and it's going to take on, which means that the plug and play puts this at everybody's reach. That's the big discovery that I have made this year. My 8-hour boat didn't really work out, but 16 hours would do it, I'm sure. So I went and built myself a little rig. I built this, I have it with me, not all here, but I have it in my bag. And I have a USB screen, a mouse, a keyboard, a few data generators, buzzers, and thermocouples and whatnot. Total cost of this thing about 1,800 euros. And the only thing that really has a proper value to it is the software, because everything else costs like 3 euros, 10 euros, 20 euros, almost like nothing. And therefore, that becomes a consumer product, because the one piece of software, of several there are, allows everybody to build their own Internet of Things. And that was my conclusion. If I can do it, I'm sure everybody can do it. Thank you.